Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my YouTube channel, or welcome back. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video, I'm going to do two tags. They're kind of topical. They really should be done in the summer, so I'm putting them together. They are You Know What You Need, Ice Cream and Books tag, and the Back to School book tag. First, I'm going to do the You Know What You Need book tag. I was tagged in video by Pat at Book Chat with Pat 8668 per Pat. You Know What You Need, Ice Cream and Books. An original tag created by Margaret Pinard at Margaret Pinard. This is what Margaret had to say. Sunday in July. What else is there to celebrate but Ice Cream Day? In the U.S. anyway. International friends feel free to join us though. Original tag. There are 10 prompts in this tag. First, I should say up front that my taste in ice cream is rather vanilla, quite literally, as vanilla is one of the two flavors I eat at this time, the other being chocolate. When I was much younger, I also used to eat strawberry. So I do like my ice cream, but it's pretty basic, I guess, ice cream. First prompt, vanilla is actually a tropical orchid. Give us a book with a flower on the cover. Bonus, tell us what kind of flower. That book is Speak to Me of Home by Janine Cummins. It's got a red flower on the cover. I'm just going to guess, maybe this is a rose. I don't know flowers that well. The only other red flower I know is a tulip, and this is not a tulip. The second prompt is Mississippi mud. Chocolatiest, chocolate, evoking the mud of the river, shaping the southern United States. Pick a book set in the South or any country, or a story shaped by a river. First, I'm going to say one of my favorite desserts is a Mississippi mud pie. Matter of fact, I had one a little earlier today with whipped cream at a local restaurant. The book I'm picking is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. A lot of the book takes place on the Mississippi River and is set in the South, so it actually covers both of the two options in this prompt. The third prompt was Swiss Orange Chip, was my favorite flavor, SLO Maid Ice Cream, a local place that closed long ago. Give us a book you remember from childhood but no one else does. I'm not sure no one else does, but the book I'm picking is Hellstrom's Hive by Frank Herbert. Certainly much less known than the Dune series, of which I read the first four books in my youth. Read a lot of books as a kid, but I can't remember any more than that might be less known. Again, probably no book from Herbert is not really known, but this is certainly less known than the Dune series. The fourth prompt is Peppermint. It's proven to refresh the mind and spirit. Choose a red book that was refreshingly unique. First, I want to say I don't really like peppermint in candy, and I'm sure I wouldn't like it in ice cream. The book I'm picking is one I just finished, actually yesterday. That's Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll and Camille Rose Garcia, illustrator. It certainly is refreshingly unique, even though it came out a long time ago. The fifth prompt is Moose Tracks. Was a great way to get Reese's Peanut Butter Cups without buying the candy. Show us a book that was a part of a recognizable trend. As an aside, just speaking of moose, might surprise people that in Connecticut, where I live, there's actually about 100 moose. Wouldn't necessarily expect moose to be this far south, but there is around 100. Not sure how they estimate that, but there unfortunately have been the occasional car-moose collision. The book that I'm picking is A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and the trend is romantasy books. A Both very popular subgenre of fantasy and also a very much derided genre of fantasy. But I've enjoyed the ones I've read, including A Court of Thorns and Roses. The sixth prompt is coffee is a classic and can be very sophisticated in its flavor profile. Name a read book that was so sophisticated you doubt your understanding of it. I never really did get to like coffee. Not too long ago I tried to give it a try again. I forget what type it was, type of coffee drink it was from Dunkin' Donuts, and I drank most of it, but it didn't really work that well for me. I wanted a coffee drink where I couldn't taste the coffee, which is kind of a weird thing, I guess, but in this drink I tasted the coffee too much. I can't think of any books that satisfy this prompt. I'm not sure I read books that would really be considered sophisticated. To me, and I actually kind of looked up the definition of sophisticated to see how I would apply it to books, but to me it appears like maybe it'd be like books about the wealthy, very culturally savvy people, and I'm not sure I read many of those books, but I don't remember any book that I thought was too sophisticated that I couldn't understand it, or even that I couldn't really understand a book overall. I can't remember that. The seventh prompt is lemon. Was probably original to China. Everything seems to be, but I always associate it with Sorrento on the southern coast of Italy. Show us a book set in a Mediterranean. Show us a book set in a Mediterranean county. The book I'm picking is One Italian Summer by Rebecca Searle. It is a romance set on a coastal town in Italy. The eighth prompt is mint chip. Can be green or white, but I grew up with green, and it's my favorite color. Give us a book about the climate, whether fiction or nonfiction. I'm picking The Day After Tomorrow by Roland Emmerich and Whitley Strieber. This is a book where there was a very quick switch to a very cold climate, like very cold, like frozen cold. Most of the population died because of it. I never investigated whether there was actually any learned people that consider this possible, but it was a cool concept for a book. And it was a movie too, which I never watched. I'm sure it was good. The ninth prompt is Stephen Colbert's American Dream. It's one I've never tried, but I love the entertainer. I think he showed great class in how he responded to his treatment by CBS. Show us a book by an author you wish was still around to entertain us. And I agree with that view. Colbert did show a great deal of class. I wasn't a watcher. I don't stay up late at night so I could watch those shows. Back in the day I used to watch Johnny Carson, but these days like something after 11:30 would be too late for me. The book I'm selecting is Blood and Gold by Anne Rice. I'm currently reading it. I would be interesting to see Anne Rice still around. The 10th prompt is Neapolitan is an American mix of 3 flavors. Can you name them? It was actually invented while trying to improve spumoni, the original 3-flavor ice cream, brought to America by immigrants from Italy, Neapolitan. Can you name its 3 flavors? And for the tag, show us a book you loved with an immigrant storyline. I cannot name the 3 flavors. Pat in her video did. I, of course, could look up those things, but that violates the spirit of tags. So I don't remember what Pat said. I am pretty sure, though, that I never had it. The book that I'm going to say for this prompt is Uncommon Hunger by Catherine Dang. The narrator of this book was a 14-year-old girl. Her parents were immigrants from Vietnam. It talked a lot about the immigrant experience. I'm going to wait till the end of the second tag to talk about tagging anyone. Now on to the back to school book tag. I was also tagged by Pat at Booktag with Pat 8668 for this tag. One she did very recently, I think actually earlier this week. Per Pat, This new version of the Back to School book tag was created by Jessica at On a Stack of Books. This book tag only has 2 prompts in celebration of Back to School. The first prompt is, what fictional school would you love to attend and why? There's really no school that I would love to attend. I read a lot of YA books, and the books are honest about bullying and things of that nature that go on in schools. So I wouldn't really want to encounter that. I did encounter some of it in my schooling. And I also read a lot of dark academia books, and I love the books, but I wouldn't want to be at those schools, despite liking to read about them. So, although I only have one answer for prompt 1, and I wouldn't love it, but I do have reasons to think it might be a school that would offer something that I think is a good thing. And the book is actually one I used in the earlier tag, which is Uncommon Hunger by Catherine Dang. The heroine is entering her freshman year of high school a little after the book starts. There was a tragedy in her family, and she's grieving. And the reason I think this might be a good school to attend is that the teachers and a guidance counselor are very much in her corner, trying to talk about what went on, understanding that she may struggle at first. And I thought that was really good. It didn't always work. She a lot of times, kind of rebuffed them. But I like that the teachers and guidance counselor care to that extent. Actually, I do have a second one for this one. But it's not a fiction book. It's a nonfiction book. The prompt asks for fiction, but since I already said a fiction, I guess I can say a nonfiction book too, because I fulfilled the prompt with the first book. But the book is The Children of Athena by Charles Freeman. This book talks about Greek intellectuals around and a little before or after the birth of Christ, and they're philosophers, scientists, and some of them have schools where they train aspiring philosophers, scientists, whatever. And I think it'd be really cool to travel back in time and just see what some of these noted intellectuals said and their thoughts, and seeing the students interacting with them and stuff. I think it'd be interesting. Now, the second prompt is, what fictional school would you not want to attend and why? You can have multiple answers for each prompt. Now, this one was a lot easier for me. I have several answers for this one. The first is I Kiss Your Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. This book is set at a Southern Christian high school. The main character of the book, I think told in the first person, but she is a lesbian, but she's also very smart. She's vying to be the valedictorian of the school, so that probably buys her some slack, but certainly there is homophobia in the school. They certainly wouldn't want anyone to be, I don't know, maybe showing too much that they were gay. And it was also, there was some unfairness too, like there was a girl who sent nude photos of herself to one of her male classmates. She was expelled. He might have been punished, but he wasn't expelled. So there's unfairness in their treatment between boys and girls. So possibly when I was a kid, I wouldn't have noticed such things. I was kind of a straight-laced kid. But at this age now, I wouldn't want to go to a school with those types of discrimination. The second book is The Blackboard Jungle by Evan Hunter. This book is set in a vocational school in New York City in the 50s. And when I think of vocational schools now, I think of technical schools training people for trades, whether it be electrician, mechanic, things like that. At that time, though, the vocational schools in New York City were kind of like dumping grounds. One of the teachers in the book even said that the service they supply is that they keep these kids off the street. They're boys. It's a boys' school. Keep them off the street, and that prevents them from committing crimes. There was one of the teachers got badly beat up by some of the students. They jumped him. So this is definitely not a school that I would want to attend. I would get eaten alive by a school with the type of students that went to this school. Not that some of them didn't have promise, but they were kind of, like I say, it was kind of a dumping ground. None of them really had great futures to look forward to. The third book is When We Were Monsters by Jennifer Niven. This book is set in a boarding school, prep school in the northeast coast of Massachusetts. The actual story in the book is set actually before the second semester at the school starts. On the grounds, there's very big grounds the school is on, there's this kind of a mansion, and 8 students apply for this special program. It's a reading program, and a noted author comes and trains them in various aspects of writing. It might have been also filmed too, because she was also a director. But one, this school is a very, it's an elite school. And also at the beginning of this book, you learn that several of the students are going to be involved in a murder. So I definitely wouldn't want to necessarily be in that type of situation. I don't think I'd want to be in a prep school, boarding school. Academically, I could cut it, but I don't know as I'd want the other things, the politics, the people doing anything to claw their way to the top. I don't think I want that part of it. The fourth book is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. In this school, there is a military academy, and the purpose of the academy is to train cadets so that they can be selected by dragons, and they become like the elite group of the military. And the school is beyond cutthroat. You can kill your classmates in certain situations. Matter of fact, to get to this military academy, they have to walk across this very, very narrow walkway with precipitous drops on either side, and 25% of them don't make it even past that. So a very cutthroat situation, which I would certainly not last very long. I might not even make the academy. The fifth book is A Secret History by Donna Tartt. This book is set at a prestigious New England college. I believe it's New England. And somewhat similar to When We Were Monsters, at the beginning of the book that there's going to be a murder that's going to take place of one of the classmates. There's a kind of elite Greek study group. I think there was only 5 students, including the narrator, the person telling in the first person. So the idea too of doing like a Greek study means there's somewhat limited options for you career-wise, and I think this is probably another elite institution that wouldn't necessarily be for me. The sixth book is Bunny by Mona Wad. This book is another prestigious college, another one I think is in New England, another one that I think is in New England. In this book, there is a elite group that is in a program for learning how to perfect their writing. There are 5 members of it, and a lot of strange things happen in this book within that group. I talked about this book a fair amount, but this is a book that is actually there's a fair amount of danger involved in it. in any danger, I don't think I'd really be surviving very long. The seventh book is The Will of the Many by James Islington. In this book, there is a academy that is for the children of the best and brightest in the society, and this society is very stratified. It's basically a kind of like a pyramid scheme, and will is something that's kind of like a life force, and the bottom level is the workers, and they cede part of the will to the next, and so on and so forth. So people get more and more powerful as they go up the ladder. And this academy is for students to kind of earn their way to higher and higher levels at the academy, and the higher they get placed in the government. Their goal is to work in the government and get highly placed. So it's a very competitive academy. It's not quite the level of the Fourth Wing one, where there's actually, rather many cases you can murder your classmates. Although that didn't happen nearly as much as they implied it would in Fourth Wing, but it did happen. This isn't quite that level, but deaths could happen still in this one too. And the final thing to do is tag others. First, for the first tag and this tag, I'm just going to say that anyone who's watching this video, consider yourself tagged. I'm also going to tag a bunch of people in my comments. If you'd like to answer one or more of the prompts in my comments or in a video of your own, please do so. Be interested in what you had to say. If you can't think of anything else you'd like to comment, please add an emoji. Perhaps a ice cream cone emoji or a ice cream sunny emoji. I just looked up ice cream, and those are amongst other things, but those came up. Those for the first tag, and or for the second tag, add a student or a school emoji, or add an emoji of your choice. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week. I hope you're having a wonderful week in general. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe. Please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos.